Hello, and in this IELTS Part 2 speaking video, I'm going to look at the topic, describe a quiz or game show that you like. You should say what it is, how you know about it, what it is like, and explain why you like it. Now, when you get a question like this, you might think, well, I don't like any quiz or game shows, which is the case with me. So I will show you how you can answer this question, but you don't have to like it. You can give your reasons for not liking it and explain that. So let's have a look at the model answer. Well, I'll start with a confession. I can't stand quiz or game shows. I know they are incredibly popular and I'm probably weird for not liking them, but I don't understand the appeal. Anyway, there is one that I am aware of and can talk about, and it is called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I'm guessing that you have probably heard of it, because as far as I'm aware, it is shown in many countries around the world. It is not a team game, it is played solo, and there are 15 questions to answer, and if the person can answer them all, then they become a millionaire. That sounds easy, but the questions get increasingly more difficult. So the first one is relatively easy, and the last one is incredibly tricky. If there is a question that the contestant cannot answer, then they have a number of options. Each contestant has 3 lifelines. What this means is they have 3 chances to get help. One of the lifelines is a 50-50 option, so 2 wrong answers are removed. Another one is to ask the audience, and they vote on what they think is the correct answer. And the other one is phone a friend, so you can nominate a friend to call during the show, and they have 30 seconds to help you. The reason I heard about it was that when it first started, there was a famous episode when the contestant won the £1 million. However, a few months later, he was accused of cheating his way to the jackpot because his wife Diana and another contestant had apparently coughed when the correct answer was mentioned. There was a court case and he was found guilty. So I'm sorry I am unable to comment on why I like these kinds of shows, because they're just not my thing, I'm afraid. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the language. I have chosen Who Wants to Be a Millionaire because, like I say in the answer, it is shown in many countries around the world. Well, I'll start with a confession. A confession is when you tell the truth about something. And so I'm saying, I'm going to tell you the truth here. I can't stand quiz or game shows. I can't stand means I really, really hate. I know they are incredibly popular. Try to avoid using very or really, so incredibly popular. And I am probably weird. Weird means strange. I don't understand the appeal. This means I don't understand why people like them. The appeal is what attracts people to them. Anyway, so I'm going now to start talking about the topic, and anyway is a useful word to kind of bring you back to the topic. There is one I am aware of. To be aware of something means to know about. I'm guessing this is a useful little filler phrase that you can put in. I'm guessing. So instead of saying I think, as far as I'm aware, this means as far as I know. It is shown, it is played. These are useful present simple passive phrases for you to use for this answer. It's not a team game. It's played solo. This means by yourself. The questions get increasingly more difficult. So instead of saying much more difficult, the first one is relatively easy. Relatively means compared to the others, so it's much easier than the others. Relatively easy. But the last one is incredibly tricky, extremely tricky. The contestant, a person on a quiz or game show, is called the contestant. And each contestant has 3 lifelines. This is like 3 chances if they are struggling to answer a question. A 50-50 option, so this is a 50-50 choice, so they remove the 2 answers that are wrong, and so then you're left with a 50-50 option. One of them is right, one of them is wrong. The audience are the people who are watching the TV program in the TV studio, and they vote, so they choose on an electronic keypad which they think is the correct answer. And you can phone a friend that you nominate. That means that you choose, that you write down, that you tell the TV show about before the program starts. He was accused of cheating, so people said he had not played fairly. Somebody in the audience had apparently coughed. To cough is apparently we use when we don't know something for certain, but we are thinking it might be true. The jackpot is the total amount of money that you can win on a game show. He was found guilty, so the court said, yes, the person coughed when the right answer was mentioned, was said. I'm unable to comment on, so because I can't say why I like it, because I don't like it, and remember, you don't have to like everything that IELTS thinks you might like. I never watch quiz and game shows, so I'm not going to lie and say, oh, I love them because of this, because then I will start to use very weak language because I don't actually have a reason for liking them. So be honest. You're not going to get a lower mark just because you're honest and say, I can't stand them. It's about the vocabulary you use. So I'm unable to comment on, I'm unable to say. They're just not my thing. This is very informal language. If something's not your thing, it means you don't like it. I'm afraid. And when you want to say you're sorry about something, this is kind of a nice polite way of doing it. I'm afraid they're just not my thing, or they're just not my thing, I'm afraid. So you could use this in lots of other topics if it's asking you about your favourite thing, and if it's not your thing, then be honest about it. It's not my thing, I'm afraid. So let's take a look at a part 3 question connected to this topic. I'm only going to look at one question for this. Why do some people like to watch TV on their computers? There are a number of reasons for this. Firstly, it is more convenient, because if it is a laptop, you can watch it anytime, anywhere. Secondly, nowadays, most people don't watch terrestrial TV. They watch TV on catch-up. Although many modern TVs are capable of accessing platforms like Netflix, some older TVs aren't. So you need to use a PC to watch programs on streaming services such as this. So when you have a part 3 question like this, try and give a couple of reasons at least. So there are a number of reasons for this. Firstly, blah, blah, blah. Secondly, blah, blah, blah. And often in your part 3, you do something because it's more convenient. So that's a very useful word for part 3. It's more convenient. And so people don't watch terrestrial TV. This was the TV we used to have, where you had an aerial on the top of your house, and that got the TV signal and brought it into the house, and you watched the TV as the programs were being broadcast by the TV provider. So you're watching them live. It might be a pre-recorded program, but you're watching it as the TV provider provided the program to the TV. But nowadays people watch TV on catch-up. This is what we call services like Netflix. You're watching them later. So you're watching them on catch-up. In the UK we have something called BBC iPlayer. This is called catch-up. Now, many modern TVs are capable of, this means they can access platforms. Anything that's on a computer, we call it a platform, like Netflix. And this is a streaming service. So Amazon Prime is a streaming service. Netflix is a streaming service. Now TV is a streaming service. If you watch programs on Sky Movies, again, this is a streaming service, so you can watch them when you want. So that is kind of the major reason why people are watching TV on their computers. It's convenient, and you can watch programs on catch-up, and you can access platforms like Netflix, which is a good example of a streaming service. Hope you found this video useful. Thank you very much for watching.